Welcome to this presentation on the NetDocuments Auto Check-in feature. In this video, we will compare and contrast the Auto Check-in feature versus the default setting, which is to have Auto Check-in disabled. Note that this requires our ActiveX add-on for Internet Explorer, with Internet Explorer set as the default browser, and with our add-ins, our application integrations for Microsoft Office. First, let's demonstrate what this looks like with Auto Check-in disabled. You'll notice I have a document checked out, and suppose I want to check out another document. And I will make some edits to this document, and I will save my changes and close the document. Now you'll notice I have two check-in buttons. There's a round one here by the document name, and there's one here at the top right. These two buttons will perform different actions. The one by the document name, if I click that, will check the document in the foreground. Whereas this one, if I were to check this document in, make some changes, and close it, I can check it in here at the top right, and that will check it in the background. That allows me to keep working if I want to navigate to a different workspace, for example. You'll notice that window there down at the bottom right, the document is now checked in. I can continue working within the browser. And you'll notice also that it didn't open any extra tabs anywhere. And also if I had multiple documents open and I close them, I want to check them in, the button at the top right will check in the documents in a single batch rather than one at a time. And that can save me time as well. Now another advantage here that we've built into NetDocuments, suppose I check out this document here again, and I make a few more changes, and I close and save it. Now I don't need to necessarily click any of these buttons. There are triggers, we've called them, built into the product, that when you navigate to certain pages, it will check in the document automatically in the background. So suppose I go to my recent docs pages. Notice that triggers the background check-in feature. So I don't necessarily need to click any check-in button. And so that is a feature we built into NetDocuments. There are several of them scattered throughout the product. Your home page, for example, if you were to go to your home page, recent docs. And we will be adding more of these triggers throughout the product, almost to where pretty much anywhere the user could conceivably navigate to will prompt a check-in for those documents. Any documents that have been closed and not checked in. Of course, any documents that remain open will remain checked out. Additionally, we have our log out button over here in the top right. That will also end the user session and prompt the user to check in any documents that they've left checked out. And that will ensure that everything gets checked in at the end of the day. So now that we've demonstrated how it functions generally without auto check-in enabled, let's enable auto check-in, and we can walk through a few scenarios on what that looks like. So first, to enable auto check-in, we want to go to our startup folder. You'll notice the location there. I won't go into too many details here. We have an article and a video that outlines how to do this, but I'm going to quickly do it for demonstration's sake. Basically, we want to edit this DOT file to enable auto check-in. And you'll notice this setting here, we simply change the 0 to a 1 to enable it. We save our changes, close that document, and we'll move this file back into that folder. And now auto check-in should be enabled. And now with it enabled, let's see what that looks like. Let's check out this document again. And we'll make a few more edits. Close and save it. Now notice as soon as I close it, the document is checked in the foreground, not in the background. You'll also notice it opens an additional tab here in Internet Explorer. I can go back to my old one. We recommend using the most recent tab because you can sometimes lose your place or get confused about which tab you should use. Always use the most recent one. And so that's basically auto check-in. Now, there are some disadvantages to having this feature. As you notice, that one of them I explained is you can get confused about where your place is. Additionally, suppose I had another window, a separate window of Internet Explorer open. With Auto Check-in, sometimes Internet Explorer will take over one of those windows. And so you can lose your place or lose your work in that window, and creating more confusion and losing your place. Additionally, because it's checking the document in the foreground, it checks it in one at a time. If I had multiple documents open, I would have to wait for each document to be checked in rather than checking them all in as a batch in the background. Additionally, another disadvantage to the auto check-in feature is that it only applies to Word documents. If I were to open this Excel document here, remember I have auto check-in enabled currently, and I were to make some changes here. Notice the document is not automatically checked in. I have to go manually check it in, again using either the foreground or the background check-in option. So that can be one disadvantage to auto check-in, is that it only applies to Word documents. Additionally, users can get used to having auto check-in enabled if they go to a computer where auto check-in is not enabled, or they may expect it to work. They may forget to check in their documents because they expect it to be checked in automatically. And again, that goes back to the logout button. We recommend using that logout button whether or not you have auto check-in enabled to prompt you to check in any documents that are checked out and to end that session. So to summarize, auto check-in really is a legacy feature that NetDocuments has maintained. It's there if you'd like to use it, but just consider the consequences and the disadvantages of doing so. And it's really been superseded by things such as the triggers that we built into the product that will automatically check in those documents in the background for you, as well as our latest Office integrations called ND Office. Because ND Office does not use any web browser, the issue of multiple tabs, for example, is a non-issue, and it will automatically check in the documents for you, regardless of file type. That concludes our discussion on the auto check-in feature. If you have any questions or if you want additional information on that feature, you can go to our support site at support.netdocuments.com.